Welcome to Diversity Matters. This show is designed to provide insight into the diversity and diversity-related activities through the new Hanover County school system. I am Maria Black, ESL Lead Parent Liaison for the school system. Each month here on Diversity Matters, you learn about our diversity efforts and get information about the work of the many people committed to advancing the interest of a diverse school system and community. On our program this month, Velita Quattlebaum welcomes three guests to the show: Betsy Stanwood, School System Transition Specialist, Joel Brenner of 101 Mobility, and Laura Preddy, a student in the transition program. They'll discuss the transition process for students with disabilities from school to the workplace. Then, in the second half of the show, Lauren Clark, Program Supervisor for the Child Advocacy and Parenting Place, joins me to talk about the organization's new parenting programs. So join us for today's show as we open doors and introduce you to the workings of our diverse school and community culture. Now, don't go away. We'll be right back.
Al ocurrir un choque de autos, 3 de cada 4 niños no van tan seguros como deberían de ir, porque sus asientos no son colocados correctamente. Con el sistema Latch es más sencillo hacerlo bien, manteniendo a sus hijos protegidos. Colocando, ajustando, abrochando. Aprende más en safercar.gov.
Welcome back to Diversity Matters. I'm Velita Quattlebaum. At the end of a high school career, students and their families are faced with many options and decisions for the future. A student can go on to pursue vocational training or further academic education, or they can look for a job. Most importantly, they can begin to live independently. But for students with disabilities, this transition process may be more complex and may require a great deal of planning. So, with me today to discuss this transition process are Betsy Stanwood, the New Hanover County Schools Transition Specialist, Mr. Joel Brenner of 101 Mobility, and Ms. Laura Preddy, who is a student in our district's transition program. Thank you all for joining me here today.
Thank you.
Betsy, this is such an interesting topic for our families with special needs students. So what are some of the key pieces to a successful transition for students with disabilities, and what is our role?
Well, you're right, it's very complex. The one thing that we want to say that's a key piece is to begin providing students with experiences so they can figure out what the career options are for them, do a career exploration sort of, to provide them with opportunities within the community to volunteer, to participate in different community activities, to participate at the school level, and to explore online what types of job opportunities are out there and available. That's one of the keys, because they need to identify what their preference is in terms of areas of interest for employment after they leave us and go on to adult life. So that career exploration and gathering information about their preferences is critical. Once they've done that, then they begin to work with their teachers, work with their families to do sort of what's a skills assessment. What skills do they have? Their reading, their math, their writing, what employment type skills they have. Do they know how to follow directions? How well they learn tasks? And so they look at what skills they have, and then what skills do they need to learn in order to be employable in those areas of preference. So that's a real complicated process, and one that takes quite a while to do. Once they've identified those preference areas, then we begin to develop activities that need to occur over their high school career, things that family, the school staff, agencies, supported supporting the student and the community, what activities need to occur, what actions do we need to accomplish in order to learn those skills to be employed. So those three things in terms of planning. The other part is working with students to learn self-advocacy skills, because once they go out into either post-secondary, college, university settings, community college, or directly into employment settings, they have to begin to communicate with employers and with faculty and staff about their accommodations that they require, the needs that they have, to communicate clearly about.
So you teach them how to do that for themselves.
They need to work on that, because once they get out of our setting, their roles and responsibilities become the students, the young adults, to advocate for themselves and to learn how to effectively communicate their needs to be successful as a employee. And finally, the one thing that I think is the hardest for all of us is making sure we plan ahead, that we start early and begin planning and taking all those steps. And as we get closer to that time when students exit high school, then they will be ready. So we have to plan well ahead.
Okay. And Joel, tell me a little bit about your company and whether or not you hire students with special needs.
Well, absolutely. The company is 101 Mobility, and so the business is, we're a franchisor, and we have corporate stores. We sell mobility and accessibility equipment to people with special needs, whether they're trying to age in place or have a disability or have become disabled. But as far as hiring goes, we absolutely hire people that have special needs or are exceptional people through a variety of outreach programs, networking programs with vocational rehab, Easter Seals, other associations through town. We're very open to hiring people with disabilities of varying sorts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Laura, I was going to ask Betsy for a success story, but I have one sitting right here in front of me. Yeah. What has the New Hanover County Schools Transition Program done for you?
We learn to ride the city bus, we cook meals, and we do house chores.
Okay, and what would you like to be in your career?
A mom.
A mom? Okay, I'm one. That takes a lot of skills.
That's hard work.
It sure is. So, Betsy, in this process, who has the more difficult time? Is it the parents or the students?
I think I would have to say the parents.
Oh, wow.
The students are always very excited about thinking about what's going to happen and how they're going to live as adults. But the parents have difficulty, and of course any parent's going to have difficulty. It's their baby, it's their child, and they want to keep them safe. They want to make sure that everyone understands their needs and to make sure they're happy and taken care of. So in particular for students with disabilities, from mild to very severe disabilities, that letting go is even more difficult. And that's why the learning self-advocacy is so critical, so that students can be more independent and that families can feel more comfortable with them going out into the workplace, going to a college or university, to living in dorms, to living independently, maybe with roommates or in some sort of supported living situation. Mm-hmm. So it really is hard for the families, and they oftentimes want to sort of wait till the last minute, and we really can't do that. We really need to start early.
So what's your best advice for parents in this situation?
Well, start early.
Okay.
Definitely do that. We're required to start talking about transition planning officially at age 14. Mm-hmm. And then at age 16, we begin to develop, as a part of the individualized education program, all the steps that I had indicated that were keys. But families need to be an active participant in that planning process. So as a parent, I would suggest that you gather information about agencies and supports within the community, that you have candid conversations with the school staff, and that you work with them collaboratively and be a part of that team to plan and make sure those things and opportunities happen. So the early planning and be an active participant.
And can people apply to be in the program? How do they get in the transition
Well,
program?
the transition program is just a specific school assignment. Our transition planning occurs in all the schools. So
all students with special needs would have access to your services.
well, it's not really a service, it's services that all the schools provide. So it would be the student's individualized education program teacher and the staff at the schools who provide that. I work directly with the schools, with the high schools, in making sure that they have the information they need, because it varies depending on the student's needs.
And the IEP of the student.
How much support they need. Some may need very little. It's just a matter of keeping them directed towards graduation so that they can go into a university setting, get the degree they need to become gainfully employed. For some students, they go directly into some sort of training and then employment. Other students go directly into employment. So it varies. So all the high schools work on transition. It's not just one program, and every student with an IEP has to have a transition plan to work towards their post-secondary goals.
Okay. Joe, let me ask you, how do you, about the lay of the land as far as employers are concerned? Do you think employers are as open as they could be to hiring people with special needs?
My sense is that there's probably a lot of room for growth in the openness of various employers and companies in hiring disabilities. I think we've made a lot of progress. That doesn't mean there's not a lot of progress to be made in the same area. A company's first responsibility is to hire the best candidate for a job, but they do themselves a disservice anytime they exclude any class of people from potentially being that person. And we found examples where persons with exceptional abilities are the best candidates for a job.
Why is that? That's interesting.
Well, some people have a unique ability to focus on a task, do analytics, be able to sit and do a job for a long time. We have an employee who has a hearing impairment. She's brought to us, and we're in a business that deals with people with disabilities. She's brought to us a perspective that we wouldn't have without her assistance, and that we're able to use in our marketing. And that's aside from the work value that she adds and the job that she does for us. And so we think it's very important, tremendous opportunity. Companies should keep themselves open, I think, and make sure that they make their job listings accessible and available to persons with disabilities and entertain any applicant.
What do you think we can do as a system or just as people in general to help people be more open to this?
You know, the key and answer to that question is always education and communication.
Right, like what we're doing here.
Like what we're doing here. Shows, talking about it, getting the word out. I know our company, through business-to-business networking, has created relationships with Easter Seals and with vocational rehab. Those relationships have turned into referrals of employees for jobs, to the point now where if we have an opening for a position, we'll let them know, hey, we're hiring for these positions. Do you have anybody in the program that you might want us to consider for that job? And so there just needs to be a lot more of that, and a lot more talking about it.
Okay. Okay. And Laura, what advice would you give to a student about to go where you've been?
We have to listen to the teacher, what they say, and make new friends.
That's right. It's all about connection, isn't it? Well, you all have been awesome. I think we have served some people today who are going to listen and watch this program. So thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
It was a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thank you. So don't go away. We've got more Diversity Matters right after this break.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Welcome back to Diversity Matters. I am Maria Black. My guest today is Lauren Clark, Program Supervisor for the Child Advocacy and Parenting Place. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning, Maria.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
What is the Child Advocacy and Parenting Place?
Child Advocacy and Parenting Place, or as we all refer to it, CAP Center, is a nonprofit here in Wilmington. Our mission is to be the preeminent community resource for strengthening families and preventing child abuse and neglect for parents, for families, for children, for youth. And we like to do this through nurturing, education, advocacy, and empowerment.
Wow, that's awesome. So what are some of the things that you can highlight as to what the center offers?
We offer a number of services. With the way we do them is we have 3 service tracks. So we have parenting education classes and family strengthening programs. Then we also do parent support groups, our largest one being a support group for grandparents raising grandchildren. And we've had that in the community for 6 years now. We're very proud of that.
For grandparents?
Yes, raising grandchildren to help get that extra support.
That's very customized. That's great.
And we found it being wonderful, wonderful aspect. We have over 40 families in that program. Wow. And then we also do therapeutic services. Our therapist works with parent-child interaction therapy for children with severe behavior, and they work with the parent and the child really on that. And then we do some case management services as well.
Wow, that's great. It's so good to know. I mean, I've heard of your organization before, but to know the extent of the services, that's really great.
Yes,
because
it's a wide range, and we like to work our families through them. It's not just one or the other. We really want to be with families through a long period of time and help them in however they see need fit.
Great. And what can you share with the audience about the grants that you recently received in conjunction with New Hanover County Schools?
Yes, we are very excited. This past summer, we partnered with New Hanover County Schools. We were awarded 2 multi-year grants. So these grants are for 3 years. And the point of these grants is to develop, to operate, and to extend community-based family resources into the community schools. So bring them right into the New Hanover County Schools. We're very excited, and these grants are for prevention purposes, so they're for everybody.
Wonderful. So now it's just readily accessible within our
exactly.
schools. That's great. Can you give us some details about the parenting programs that you are using?
Yes.
Let's say within the school programs, and why you chose those specific programs.
Well, CAP Center believes in evidence-based practice. And that means that all of the programs and services we use have been researched previously and found effective. So we want to make sure there's something to back up the use of these programs, and there is for all of these. For our preschool age children, we use Incredible Years for parents of children ages 3 to 5. And this program's a 2-hour session for the parents, and it's really a time to teach them parent skills, different techniques, to empower them to help their child be ready for school. So it really works on school readiness, to help work on the children to be their on-task behavior, which we know they need when they enter kindergarten, and some of their reading competencies, things like that. So that's our preschool program. We're going to be able to offer 2 of those a year, which is wonderful.
Great.
For our elementary school age children, we use Strengthening Families for children and parents ages 6 to 11. And this program's a little bit different. This has an adult component for the caregiver as well as a child's component. So parents meet for an hour in their group while the kids are meeting for an hour, and they're learning complementary skills. So parents might be learning how to give good clear directions. The children are learning good listening skills.
Wow.
Then we come together for an hour of family time, and that's really a time where the coaches and the group leaders can model the techniques we're trying to teach the parents, and they can practice them in a safe environment. And also we do a lot of fun activities for them to build the bond of family. And this one has been found to decrease misconduct amongst the kids, to increase their school performance. It's been wonderful, and it also decreases parental stress because now they have skills and techniques they can use with their children. Our other program for middle schoolers is Strengthening Families 10 to 14. Very similar to our elementary program, that there's a caregiver component as well as the child, and then coming together for family. Now this one is really based on helping parents and children bring their teens smoothly into those teen years, because that can be a very difficult time. Exactly. So it's all about showing your love for your children, but also setting the limits that are needed as they start to have more room to grow in the world. And this one's been found to increase children's engagement in school, to increase their peer refusal skills, and to also decrease any aggressive behavior. So we've had wonderful results. We've used all of these programs before, and now we're just able to integrate them on a much larger scale. With all these programs as well, we include a meal, and we include child care for any of the siblings that aren't participating in that program.
Wow,
Yes.
that's amazing. I'm so impressed.
It's
That's
what we're very
exciting.
excited about
Yes,
it. We're very excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just hope, that indeed as many families that may have the opportunity to be a part of, that they'll
Right.
take advantage of it.
I hope so.
On the middle school program, will the children also come? You mentioned the elementary students get to come
Yep,
to the sessions
so
with the parents.
exactly,
So
same
the
thing. So the
same-
middle schoolers are there, and they're working on different skills as well. So the parents are learning how to what their expectations are maybe about drugs and alcohol. Maybe that was never even discussed what they are, while the kids are learning what to do when it's offered to them and how to review those skills and to feel confident. So it's, again, the same complementary skills.
Great. And is there a specific audience that you are trying to reach, a specific population that you're trying to encourage to participate within the schools that you are
Yes, that we're working in,
at?
because we can't be in every school, unfortunately.
Right, okay.
But within it, we are trying to reach all of New Hanover County, honestly. These programs are for everybody. These programs are used nationwide, so the same program taught here is taught in California, is taught in New York, is taught in Nevada. It's used all around, and SFP 10 to 14, our middle school programs, actually being used globally. So these programs are truly for everybody. And I know parenting classes get a really bad reputation. You think you have to be a terrible parent if you're going to parenting classes.
Right.
We do not believe that at all. It's a prevention class. These classes give parents an idea, some skills, some techniques. Parenting doesn't come with a book, and it's certainly not easy.
Right.
Everybody else, teachers go to school 4 to 6 years, doctors go to school for 8, 9 years. Why not have something for parents?
Absolutely.
That's what we
That
believe
makes
in.
a lot of sense, right? Okay, that's awesome. And do you guys have any ways of monitoring? Are there any tools in place to ensure that you are indeed being as successful as you perceive to be?
Of course, we want the data. Each of these programs from their developers have their own tools to use to monitor them, and then we work with the developers to help monitor them. So we use their tools. We also have some of our own. We use the protective factors. We believe all families have these strengths and protective factors. They might not be aware of them, but all families have them.
They do.
So we want to strengthen those, build upon them, maybe develop further some that might be a little low. So we do a protective factor survey to see over the course of participating in these groups if that has been increased. These groups are also evidence-based, so they have to be conducted as close to the way the model says. There's a certain script and a certain way the curriculum has to be delivered to receive the outcomes that they found in research. So we do what we call fidelity checks, and we have volunteers from the community come in. They observe our classes. We have sheets from the developers of these programs that we use to assess how close are we to model fidelity, how close are we to get the same outcomes that they got there. We want to have the best possible outcome. So those are some of the tools we use. We're constantly evaluating and adjusting if necessary.
Sounds great. And now can you tell me what are some of the schools, which schools are currently offering the classes? And I hear that you have about 2 or 3 schools that are going to start pretty soon here, perhaps in February, I heard?
Yes, yes. So the way we set it up is that we do a fall batch of sessions, and then we'll do a spring. So in the fall, we've started those. Those are about to finish, and we're just about to start our spring sessions. We worked with New Hanover County Schools to choose some of the most appropriate schools that we could find. That is not to say, though, that these programs are not open to everybody. This is just where we're holding the programs at these school sites. And those are for our pre-K. We're working with Johnson Pre-K and Howe Pre-K. And we're also including Head Start in that one. That one's going to be starting in the spring. Elementary schools, we have our Sunset Park and College Park. Those are starting in the spring. And then we're going to be starting Williston in the spring. Now, the ones we've been working with are Rachel Freeman for pre-K, and then we've been working with Snipes Academy and Winter Park and Forest Hills. We kind of combine those
How
schools to meet
exciting.
at Winter Park. Yep, and DC Virgo was our middle school in the
Wow.
fall. So those schools will be the same that we'll be working on to try to see a trend, but it's open to everybody in New
So it's
Hanover
open
County.
to everybody,
Yes.
meaning if a parent from Mary C. Williams is interested in attending, they can just simply
Exactly.
go to
Whichever class
Sunset.
is the most
Okay.
convenient for them.
Okay, so how parents will register for the class?
The way we get registration, we like to hold an open house, that's what we call it, at the school site. So in the spring we're getting ready. We have 2 open houses next week for our Sunset Park and College Park. And what that is a really fun family time. It's a time to meet the staff members, the group leaders. It's a time to hear about the program. We offer dinner, we offer family fun activities. And it's really to get a hands-on feel for that program. So they can attend that, or they can call me. They can always call our their school social worker as well to find out
Right.
more information.
Great. And, you know, really quick, one thing I wanted to make sure I ask you. Do you find your groups to be diverse? Can you give us an idea how diverse are your groups?
We have great diversity. I'll give you some examples for our fall programs. We have diversity of race, gender, age, sexual orientation. We have married couples. We have co-parenting couples that aren't married, but they're working together. We have single parents. We have foster parents, grandparents, adoptive parents.
Wow.
We have a wide range of educational levels and socioeconomic status. We even have some of New Hanover County law enforcement participating, and a social worker from New Hanover County DSS participating with their family as well. So it is all over
Very
the map.
diverse. I hear
Yes,
that.
yes.
That's wonderful. The more people we can reach
Exactly.
from all areas, that's great. And backgrounds, the better for the families.
Right.
As we close, is there anything that you would like to share as a means of encouraging people to come and join the classes?
I think the biggest thing is parenting's for everybody. We could always use just a little bit extra or just somebody else to talk to about the stress when the kid doesn't quite want to stay in timeout, or
right.
the teen who all of a sudden wants to be out with friends all the time. You know, it's just a wonderful time to come together as a community and really discuss something that's so important for our community now, tomorrow, and in our future. Parenting is such an important job.
It sure is. It's serious stuff.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Lauren, for being here.
Thank you so
this
much for
morning.
having me.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
As we all know, parenting is serious stuff. It's not about making a child do what we want him to do, but also about raising children of character, capable, responsible, and contributing members of their communities. For more information about the programs offered by the Child Advocacy and Parenting Place, call 910-791-1057 or contact the social worker at your child's school. Now, don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is a man who almost learned to walk at a rehab center that almost got built by people who almost gave money. Almost gave. How good is almost giving? About as good as almost walking.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Diversity Matters. If you would like more information about our school system's ESL program, please call me at 254-4202. Also, feel free to contact the school system's public relations office at 254-4245 about any of the topics discussed on our show today, or with suggestions for future editions of Diversity Matters. I am Maria Black, and on behalf of myself and my co-host, Valida Quattleman, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next month here on Diversity Matters.